Okay, so enjoy making a fool of yourself, whatever it is that you want to do and pursue. And you know that you're going to have a few hiccups because that's how we learn. We use this analogy a lot, and I'm sure you're sick to death of hearing it, but when a child learns to walk and they fall over, we don't say, oh, don't worry about that, darling, you don't have to learn to walk, it'll be all right, I'll carry you around for the rest of your life. We encourage them to get up and get on and have another go. So get up, get on and have another go, because unless you do, you're never going to learn what it is to be courageous. You're never going to learn what it is to have confidence. Don't doubt that you're going to be good at what it is that you want to do. Don't doubt that you're going to enjoy the experience. And don't let other people put these gremlins, as we call them in the trade, put this fear into you. Because the fear is what holds you back as well. And other people's opinions and other people's assumptions, or your assumptions rather, about other people's opinions are just that. And people are entitled to their opinion. If you want to walk the Alps and they think to themselves, my God, you can't walk the Alps, that's a huge project. You just cannot be fit enough, you cannot be prepared well enough. It will cost you a fortune. What if you injure yourself? What if you lose your way? What if you can't find accommodation? What if you fall over? What if? I don't know, so many what ifs. But that's their opinion, and that's because they wouldn't be particularly interested in doing it. But if you don't have a go, if you don't prepare yourself and you have a go, you're never going to do it. And this is another thing that I say to people, and I say it in my book, is keep good company. Mix with the people who are your friends, people who are positive about what it is that you want, people who are in the same mindset, if you like, about your ambition. Keep good company. Actually, in my book, I use the analogy of having a dog. And I think it's a good one, because whenever you speak to people who have a dog, they will say, oh, the dog is so loyal, the dog is my best friend, the dog is uncomplaining, the dog loves me, the dog welcomes me when I come in, the dog is always ready to come along with me. Make sure you keep good company, and actually the best company you can keep is your own. Got to keep good company with yourself. If you're not used to keeping good company with yourself, there's no shortcuts. You have to learn to keep good company with yourself. Okay, loneliness kicks in here, and I used as an excuse, oh, it's too lonely being on my own. I get miserable on my own. I don't want to be on my own. Until you can first learn to love yourself and keep good company with yourself, you can't keep good company with anybody. So I'm afraid there's no shortcuts to this. You have to do something by yourself, for yourself. I don't know, people meditate, I walk the cliff myself, I walk this coastline. I went cycling in Italy on my own. I packed me and my bike onto a plane one Monday morning it was. Flew to Pisa, unpacked my bike. Of course my nerves were jangling, and my little voices were saying, you're crazy, you can't do this on your own. It was hard enough putting my bike together on my own. And I got my Italian phrase book, so even my Italian was shaky. But once I set off on the open road all on my own, I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. And the sense of freedom and knowing that I was in charge of my own destiny. I was in charge of everything that happened to me from now on. I had nobody else to depend on. At the end of the day, when I was looking for accommodation and I was tired and weary and unhappy because I couldn't find accommodation, I began to think, what on earth am I doing? But when I did find that accommodation, and when I was finally sitting in a lovely restaurant in the outside, overlooking the street, enjoying my Italian food and my Italian glass of wine, I felt very pleased with myself. There's nothing like testing yourself and going it alone to know who you are, how you are, and why you are. And it's not going to happen in a day. So, please, please look after yourself. First, love yourself. It's a big thing to have to do. Relationships is an interesting one, because again recently I read an article, and it was a lady talking about her therapist, an American woman, and the psychiatrist had actually been asked if she would counsel a group of Cambodian refugees who recently landed in the country. And this woman worried enormously about how she was going to cope with that, how she was going to deal with, you know, the rape and genocide and terrible murders and carnage that these people had experienced, and to say nothing of the journey that they'd also had crossing the seas to get to the West to find safety. And she really worried about dealing with such traumatised people. And one of her first clients was a lady who, on the journey across the sea in an open boat, fell in love with a fellow passenger. But during the course of their journey, he was actually put onto a second boat, another boat. And on this other boat, he then struck up a liaison with this woman's cousin, and they fell in love. And when they finally arrived in America, he actually chose to marry the cousin. And this woman was still very upset about her lost love. And so don't make assumptions. This psychiatrist made assumptions she was going to deal with rape and genocide and trauma. Of course there's all that, but the most important thing in this woman's life was her relationship with this man. You know, relationships are very, very important. So make sure the relationship with yourself is the most important one, and then you're free to love somebody else, you're free to give. I talk also about thoughts create matter. You know, the way we think every day is going to have a big impact on the way we respond every day. And the way we respond is so important to both you and to those people around you, that it has to be something of, you know, sort of high up on your agenda that you're going to practice. You're going to practice being a thoughtful person, so that you dispel those negative thoughts, that you dispel those despairing thoughts, that you dispel those depressive moods and moments, because if you don't, you're always going to embrace them. And they are a kind of comfort, and they are a kind of zone that we work in and out of. You know, we're not robots, I'm aware of that, but, you know, be aware that the way you think is a huge tool. If you think you can, and if you think you can't, you can't. And it is so true. So please, you know, I cannot emphasise enough that thoughts create matter. And of course The Secret book that came out a few years ago now, followed by a video, had a big impact on people, because basically it was concentrating on the way that we think, and people had used it to great effect. And you know yourself, you know, if you're in a good mood, everything goes well. If you're in a bad mood, you hit the skid pads all the time. So it's very important to realise about the way you think. And finally, I talk about don't dwell in the past. And I have a great illustration in the book about ancient man, you know, this hairy body, his ape-like body, and then gradually we stand up and we grow tall, and we stand tall, and finally we're clothed in all our finery. How many times do we blame others, or blame situations, or blame the environment we're living in, or blame the government, or blame whoever it is in our firing line at the moment? Dispel blame. We're going to do away with blame. You know, concentrate on yourself here. Don't dwell in the past. Don't be forever looking over your shoulder. You know, the future lies just ahead. And if you don't actually enjoy what's going on at the moment, you're going to miss a lot of things. You need to experience everything as it comes. No good waiting till next year to enjoy the primroses. You know, they'll be finished in another month. So, you know, enjoy what's happening now, and then you can enjoy what's going to happen next, and enjoy what's going to happen next, and savour everything. And frankly, by doing all of these things, you know, by embracing all these things, you know, we owe it to those people around us. Because if we are like that, you know, if we can be seen to be whole, if you like, if we can see to be well-rounded, balanced people, you know, how much does that impact on our children, on our colleagues, on our peers, you know, on our family, on our friends? So much better. But really, for me, the most important person is you. And that's always my prerogative, is, you know, let me, you know, let us be the best that we can be. But for heaven's sake, don't let us ever die wondering. Whatever it is that you want to do, You make plans, you make steps, and start putting those wheels into motion.